And we gotta.
They can't be 299. They can't be contractors or anything like that. They have to.
If this really happened in real life.
I get it. I don't know.
Yo, what's good, everybody? This is your boy JTL, aka Opposite from the Norm, back with another one. Got a great show for y'all. I'm sure y'all seen the title, so I guess I gotta preface it for y'all so it'll make sense. So apparently, some people think that all right. So some people think when certain people talk about being black and certain things that we want to do for the community and whatnot, that some of us go a little too far and we may not be open-minded about certain things. So I think we got to have a conversation about it. So I usually get called out about this. I get held accountable about it. Somewhat ask questions. Me personally, I think sometimes it's assumptions, but I think we should have more dialogue to really, truly understand what it is, you know what I mean, that I'm actually trying to convey to people, you know what I mean? Because for some reason, when it comes to me, people look at me like,
I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blacker than black, and I'm black, y'all.
Like, that's me. But it's all good though, you know what I'm saying? I think people kind of misconstrue me and what it is. So we got a brother in here tonight. Y'all see who it says is featuring. So he wanted to have this conversation. So we gonna have this conversation, man. What's good? Say what's good to the people, DeathNote.
Shoot. What's up, everybody? Thank you for stopping by. We're gonna have a good conversation tonight. Let's run it.
All right. So you the voice of reason. So I'm gonna start the conversation off with a question. Preface that question. So it's been times I said certain things that you disagree with. Let's go to the main thing. The first thing. We had a conversation before when it comes to certain people wanting to say certain things about the black community, right? And it's like, okay, well, you know, you decided to marry out, move out, and my whole thing was, hey, you know, do you? I ain't mad at nobody. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't working for you, this situation works for you, living here works for you, and all that, those good things. That's fine. You know, do your thing. But my thing was, no, I don't think you should try to lead because ain't nobody gonna listen to you. So maybe you can speak to that. Like, what was your thoughts on that? You know, at the time or whatever you still thinking.
No, I mean, I just still think like a human being. I say that just because you date out or whatever the case may be doesn't mean that you no longer see the problems in the community or can offer advice or even lead the community in a direction that they need to go into. At the end of the day, you're black, and every child that you have is going to be black. So it's just like if you're talking about Malcolm X and, you know what I'm saying, everybody's like, yeah, we can follow Malcolm X and all that good stuff. And then all of a sudden he gets married to a white woman. All of a sudden, everything that he's saying is no longer valid. He's no longer a leader because he's marrying a woman or dating a woman outside of the race. Now, I understand that those times were different, so we're not going to really dwell on that. I'm talking about modern times and just using a figure that everybody would understand was a leader amongst black people. But yeah, I think that you shouldn't lose your credentials, shouldn't be lost simply because of the decisions that you made for love or or anything like that, because at the end of the day, your kids are still going to be black. When you have kids, I don't care if they're mixed or what, if they're high yellow or they're dark as oil, they're always going to be considered black by the police. They're always going to be considered black by any white person who's going to hire them for a job and everything else. So to say that now, as part of them being part of the community, we're going to oust them because they're not going to be accepted by white people. Now you're saying that as black people, we're also not going to accept them. You're alienating them, and we're taking ourselves back many decades in time.
Okay. So my response to that would be, the reason why I say that, because I know how we are as a people, and I know what we've been through historically, especially with certain black people that make it and haul ass. Now let's talk about the bougie black people first, right? The ones that just move out of the community, act like they got nothing to do with us. They nothing like none of us. They don't like collard greens, but they just go out of their way, right? So black people are damaged from that, from what I've seen historically. When I talk to older family members, friends, and just older black people in general, that's one of the first things they had a problem, is people turning their back on their own people. Even at a time when we were getting along, there were black people doing that, right? So they get money, move away, and then next thing you know, you see them out there with somebody white. Now let's talk about black people that stay in the community, even if they do marry somebody white, right? I noticed that, as long as they cool, respectful and everything, people still listen to them. But I think trying to jump out in front, like, yeah, I'm gonna lead people, and then you got somebody white or outside your race. I mean, unless it's like, let's be fair, unless it's like, say it's like Puerto Rican or something like that. I mean, you still got some black women that's gonna hate that. But that, I think people kind of be like, all right, well, at least, like, look at Russell Simmons. He married Kimora Lee. She's Asian. So brothers still listen to him. Dave Chappelle, he married his Asian wife. People still listen to him. So I think it's just with the white thing, it depends on how you carry yourself in the community. I think like people still can listen, will still listen to people, but I think it's just when you jump to try to lead a charge or something, you have to really put more work in. Like, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree that you have to put more work in or whatnot, because you also have to validate yourself. But I think that it also comes from a place where uh, so often now people are doing more and more as far as not understanding the human factor in a lot of these things. And that's, I think, what I'm not really missing. I'm not missing that human factor, because at the end of the day, I don't see a person who changed like their stance, their delivery, what they believe in, what they want for the community. I don't think all that changes just because of the person that you love is a different race. And I think that sometimes we get so caught up on race that it's more detrimental in the long run. Because right now, most of the people who are out here aren't even pure African or aren't pure, anything. There's a lot of mixed races going around here. And I get it that, we can identify with other black people for our struggles and everything. But I think that at the end of the day, I pretty stand pretty firm that if somebody's doing the right thing and they're saying the right things for our community, as long as they're doing those things, then I don't care if they're dating a white woman or whatever. As long as, like me and you can agree, as long as they're not coming back and saying every black person is trash, as long as they're not pulling a J Mike saying that all dudes are trash and they don't raise kids well and all that good stuff, as long as you're not doing that kind of stuff, I don't have a problem with you. Like, I think Dave Chappelle could step out there and actually lead the black community. He's been an activist, but he's more so a local activist. He doesn't step into the national a majority of the times. He typically tries to do stuff on the local level, and he's leading his local communities, not not the individual town he lives in, because that's actually predominantly white, but like the local areas around him that have a black populace, they listen to him, and when they go as far as voting, he goes to town hall meetings and everything. So I think that just because of who you're dating doesn't change your validity.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, what I noticed. The reason why I'm kind of skeptical at times is I'm gonna just keep it all the way funky with you. Most people that I've had conversations with that married somebody white, this is where they mess up. They'll have this brother to brother conversation and be like, yeah, I had to marry me a white woman because a black woman. That's when I'm like, see, that's the shit I be talking about. So like I said, I think that's why a lot of our people are skeptical because you find out those conversations and how people think, and that's what pushed them away. So I'm not like gun hold on it so much like I used to be when I was younger, but I still kind of keep my eyes open if you get my drift. You know what I'm saying? So I just watch people, see what they do before I just totally judge them. I remain cautious, but I just watch people now more so than just you
But that
can't. Because soon as they fuck up, hey, they gonna hang themselves. You get what I'm saying?
but that's the whole point that I'm making is that you have to look at people for what they are, and take them for what they are, and then if they give you reason to believe otherwise or whatever else, then that's when you go ahead and make those judgment calls, saying, okay, well, this person is not worthy of the praise or even worth listening to.
Yeah, I agree. I
So
agree with you on that.
I think, yeah, give people room to show you who they are, because at the end of the day, they're always going to show you who they are. We know, me and you, we know a personal situation where people have gone through those kind of things. By the way, you got Jay in the back chat.
Yeah, I see his funky ass back though. We ain't finna bring you up. We see you. Well, DeathNote might. He quick on buttons. Anyways, let me go to the comments real quick, and then we'll get back to the discussion. Got Armin in the building. She say, "Hey y'all," and also she says, "So why add those problems to the community?" Maybe you can expound on what you mean by that, Armin. Uh, she she also said, "Kick their ass out." Maybe you can expound on what you mean by that. Got my brother John Horse in the building. What's good, bruh? And she also said it's hypocritical. How do you love what you don't understand? Hmm. I
And what do you? I'm wondering what she means by some of those things. Um, as far as
yeah,
adding problems to the community, I think that there are much larger communities. I mean, much larger issues in our community than somebody dating a white woman. And then, as far as it being hypocritical, how can you love something that you don't understand? I don't get that. Like, what do you not understand? Because at the end of the day, what I'm saying, people are human, and that attraction is there. Um, for those people. You go to work, you have proximity, you talk, you find out that you guys are into the same things and all this other stuff. It doesn't necessarily matter what your great grandparents went through on either side, because that holds no bearing in the conversations that you guys are having, the interest that you guys are having together, and so on and so forth. Now, I can understand that there is still some generational hurt, but I think that a part of it, and a large part of it, has started to become virtue signaling. I think that because a lot of black people have lost, well, because of black people as a whole have lost our identity, that people are looking for something to grasp onto. And if you go outside of the black community, then you're automatically, a hater of your own community. When I don't see that as being the case, I think that we're so far advanced. We're in 2022. We're so far advanced. There's so many things that have changed as far as livelihood, life expectancy. You know what I'm saying? Access, availability, like access to women, not even just here in this country, but in other countries as well. I think that yeah, I don't see how it would be hypocritical or anything like that. Jay, what are you doing? Anyways, but yeah, I don't see how that would be hypocritical or anything like that. So I think it's weird, but she can explain if she so chooses.
yeah. I mean, type what you mean, cause I think we both kind of lost on that. For us, the problems you mean added to the community, kicking their ass out, and it's hypocritical. How do you love what you don't understand? Maybe you can expound on that a little bit. But yeah, but see, and then there's another point where we had conversations before. You said about me being closed minded, which I think you misunderstand certain things I say. But maybe you can give me like a little bit more of an explanation of what you mean. I mean, specifically, if you can think of something.
I mean, just the topic that you brought up. When I said that you were closed minded, when we first had this conversation, this was a while ago. And this is after, I mean, this is before a lot of the conversations that we've had. And the same kind of thing happened with House when, what I'm saying, me and him went back and forth talking about the fact that, passport bros, before he was 100%, everybody needs to go. Then I kind of like, we had a conversation about how his rhetoric affects everybody else. And then now he dialed it back and it's like, okay, maybe it's not everybody, whatever. So you were very extreme initially, and it came off as being very closed minded because you were, as you pointed out in the beginning, you were coming off as being ultra black, ultra woke, ultra all that. You know what I'm saying? Like when something would come up, even with this issue that we're talking about now between black and white people in their relationships, like you were all the way there. No, they can't speak at all in the black community. They can't represent anything in the black community, and so on and so forth. Now you're a little bit more open as far as how you communicate it. But before, when you were speaking, it came off as you being closed off to the possibility of somebody leading the community or even being a talking figure in the community and them dating outside of the race. So that's what I'm saying, is that changed. But that's literally one of the things that I first pointed out when we first started having our conversations.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I in reverse, I thought you was coming off as somebody who like you want to sell out, you want to buy out. So that's why that's why I came with that conversation, because I'm like, nah, bro, I just ain't with that. And another thing that I noticed is the reason why I'm very cautious is because it's always seemed to come up when I see somebody dating out that's black, male or female, right? It always come up with somebody saying nigga or something, or they family racist, and it's like, oh my God, you know what I'm saying? It's like we've came so far, and it's like we still got so far to go. You know what I'm saying? So that's why for me personally, I'm like, I gotta stick to black. It's just because I don't want to have to deal with that issue. It's like we already deal with enough as it comes to relationships, as you see, we talk about a lot on the channel. And it's like, well, damn, you know what I'm saying? Do I really want to add that situation to my personal life? And then, like I said before, I see what brothers and sisters go through and have been through with people who have backstabbed them, like the Tatum dude or whatever his name, Brandon Tatum. People like that, and Candace Owens, and the stuff that they do and say. And it's annoying because they'll say black people need to let the victim card go, but then turn around, something happened to them, and then now they're black, and that's why they going through what they go through. Like Candace Owens had a situation at this hotel, and the hotel had to expose her because she tried to stay there longer than she was supposed to stay there. And then they exposed her talking about, oh, it's because I'm black and all this bullshit. So it's like, y'all phony. Look at Kanye West. Every time something happens to him, he's blackity black again. But then when it's a situation where he's doing great, then it's, oh, y'all need to let go of y'all victim card. So when I see a lot of situations like that happen, I'm like, oh no, we're not having that. Because my whole thing is, and we can I'm gonna transition to another question. My whole thing is, the reason why I respectfully try to hold on to something is because it's like every time we get out here, we see what the real world is. Not everybody, but you have certain situations that you have to be careful about. I've seen situations of real racism face to face. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's just walking and somebody yelling nigger out their car to me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, so we have to realize that everybody else has their identity. The reason, in my opinion, that ours is lost is because we think, and I'm not necessarily saying you, but a lot of us think once we make it in white society, then that means everything's okay. Like if you go to Lil Wayne, first he was saying all the blackity black stuff, but then now when he get in trouble with the feds, now it's, oh, I don't understand racism. I ain't trying to rock the boat. That's all it was. It's like just keep it funky. That's what it was. But that has nothing to do with you being black. That has to do with your stupid ass taking a pistol on a private flight, and you know damn well you was not supposed to do some stupid shit like that. If you was trying, because I guess it's like a gold gun or some stupid shit. If you were trying to have it as an art piece, you're supposed to package it as such, not just take it somewhere and do some stupid shit like that. So he flipped on the other side because it was convenient. And I think that's another thing I try to watch out for certain people like that. So in your opinion, because I remember we had a conversation a few nights ago, and you brought that up as and you were saying something to the effect of letting certain things go when it comes to that. So maybe you can expound on that. What did you mean by letting certain things go when it comes to that? Whereas I was saying, no, there's certain things we need to hold on to, and being proud to be who you are, just like other communities, is the main thing.
So I think that there's things that the black community can definitely be proud of. But we also have a lot of things that the entire world knows that we shouldn't be proud of. And the problem is I feel like, and I'm using the word feel for Jay, since he's in the back listening. He hates that shit. I feel like a lot of people, like I was when I first heard Morgan Freeman say it, right? And he said, how do you deal with racism, and how do you get past the argument of racism and so on and so forth?" And he said, "You don't talk about it." Now, I didn't agree with him at the time as far as listening to the things that he had to say, because I was like, the fuck you mean you don't have to talk about it? I'm still getting pulled over by police. I'm still getting, you know what I'm saying, checked and all this other stuff. And I ain't never did nothing wrong. As soon as I got back from Afghanistan, the very same day that I got back from Afghanistan, I got pulled over by the police. And they had 5 cars pull up behind me, and they held me at gunpoint the day I got back from Afghanistan. So what I'm saying is, I understand the things that Black people are going through out there in the community. Now, there are some things that we need to let go. We need to let go. We need to have, these young guys. I mean, even around my age, anyone who's like 50 and below, you know what I'm saying? And I'm saying 50 to just give a little bit more cushion there. But anybody who's 50 and below, you can't relate to how slaves were treated. But I think that a lot of times everybody's walking around and they're saying, "Oh, every single thing that's happening to me that's wrong, that I don't agree with, that is not in my favor, is because I'm Black or because somebody's racist." If somebody says, "Oh, you can't have this job just because you're not qualified," all of a sudden that person is racist. It's not because of the fact that you didn't have the degree, or you didn't have the skill set, or you didn't have the certifications, or you didn't show up to the meeting on time, or you didn't dress appropriately, or whatever the case may be. It's none of those things. It's no accountability there, but it's immediately the Black card, because it's an easy way out. And a lot of times it goes so far down the rabbit hole, becomes something similar to virtue signaling. And that right there is what I really get tired of.
Okay. See, that's something we both agree on, because I get tired of it as well. Like that's what I'm saying. That's the victim card to me. But my thing is, when I say about certain things, like I say about us networking together as brothers, like we doing here. Oh, did this nigga turn on music? Can you turn it down, son? Thank you. He in a back chat. He's still annoying. Anyways, like I was saying, so my thing is, what I'm talking about is a certain thing that we need to build and do with like-minded Black people. You know what I'm saying? Because the problems that we keep having, from what I'm saying in my personal opinion, is that, and I had to let this go. We think, a lot of us, that, oh, we gonna save the whole Black race. No, that's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. I would rather, I take the angle like Pac said when he was like, I guarantee I will spark the brain. But that's what I would rather do, is try to spark the brain of people around me. You know what I'm saying? Get the understanding around me, versus it being some shit where, oh, this happened because I'm Black. That's just like when we had a conversation about the pay gap that a lot of females talking about. And it's like, until you do your research, you talking about some shit that's not going to change, and that's dependent upon y'all making that change. So when I talk, I think that's what you misunderstand what I'm saying. Like, I don't want it to be that. I don't want it to be the ignorant shit. I don't want it to be a situation where the foods we know we eating that is killing us. Everything you got to do in moderation. Also, certain activities that we do that's fucking us over. The drinking too much, the smoking too much, the getting in trouble with the police. Like, that's a lot of stuff we need to let go. And I remember LL Cool J had this one commercial, and he was like, pray for the brothers and sisters out there, especially the brothers, man. We need to get off those corners. Like, that's my whole mindset. And my whole thing is working with the youth. I think we can start helping to see some type of change. So when I say that, it's more about working within the community, working with young brothers that are trying to do something. Like I told you before, if you had something going, I would try to get their minds ready and their actions ready to speak, so that if I was to introduce them to you or somebody else, they're moving in that manner. They're trying to learn. They want to intern. They want to get out there and do something. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, who the hell put that in the chat? Jay, you ain't got nothing better to do?
Jay.
Asshole. See, that's Alabama. I'm sorry. I apologize. He from Alabama, y'all. He don't know no better. But anyways, we getting him hooked on phonics for his birthday. So, but I think that's the point you kind of miss sometimes. Like, when I make certain videos, I try to speak on not, being with that ignorant shit, and the ones that are building, doing the best that we can, and trust each other as best we can. And if it's a situation where it's an outside force trying to pull us away from each other, be careful about that. Be watchful, because that's some real shit. They do that to a lot of our people that make it certain places. And I get why certain brothers and sisters move in silence. Like I remember Jamie Foxx told a story about all these black people that invited him to a private party. It was Oprah there, it was Sidney Poitier there, and all these people, and they was talking to him. And it's important how he got into that class of getting an Oscar. That's a very small class when it comes to black people. But I don't think Monique was ever invited. she fucked up her situation. It's like stupid shit like that we can't do, and we gotta overstand the fact that certain black people, the way they move, they have to if they want to keep helping us. You know what I'm saying? So I think I that's the angle I'm really trying to say. You know what I'm saying? Like they say, it's a secret society. All we ask is trust. But so maybe you get what I'm saying from that angle. That's pretty much what I mean, because there's certain ways that we move when we get to a certain status in our life. I don't want nobody to do nothing stupid. Jay being successful, be careful. You being successful, be careful. And the same thing for myself.
So I think that a lot of the stuff that a lot of people have a problem with comes to classism, right? When you get into certain classes, when you start making more money, you have to do more things to protect yourself. When you start having more to lose, you have to do more to protect yourself. So a lot of times you'll hear people change the way they talk. You'll hear a lot of people change the way that they carry themselves, change the way that they dress. It's all part of the game. And if you want to continue to rise, you have to do those things to get to the next level. We had a common saying within our community, and most parents that I knew who were trying to do something told their kids this, and they said, "Dress up, move up." I know everybody's heard that. And the thing is that we're literally instructing our people to put on a facade to be able to move up in the world or whatnot, because unfortunately, the unambiguous is what the ambiguous is what really excels. You can't be that person who's loud and boisterous and always have to speak your mind and all that good stuff. That's the difference between Monique and Oprah. Oprah's a billionaire. Monique is trying to find work. So I think that there are some things that we keep promoting as being black when they're not being black. It's just us not wanting to take accountability. Like, what is black culture? And that's why I said it earlier, that we have lost what our actual culture is. Are we supposed to be Muslim? Are we supposed to be Christians? Are we supposed to be, proper and trying to learn all these different studies and be members of society? Are we supposed to deal with the drug game the way that, the CIA and the FBI peddle drugs into our communities? What are we supposed to do? The problem is that we don't have those people teaching us. We don't have the adults and the parents teaching us what we need to do. And then because we don't know, or if we don't find out in our lifetime, we don't teach our children. And we see everybody else in the world. And when somebody actually is trying to do better, a lot of times, what do they say? That person's a sellout. That person's acting white and all that good stuff. I think that there's parts of what we consider the black community, the over sexualization, the loud, boisterous attitudes, the masculinization of our women. I think those are things that we need to let go. We really do need to let go of those things, and then stop calling racism when we're persecuted based off of those things. If you're a black woman and you have an attitude, and I'm not saying that all black women have attitudes, but if you're a black woman and you have an attitude, then you're fitting the stereotype, and don't be upset that men don't want to deal with you, especially not white men. Don't call it racism. Call it what it is.
Now, see, you said a couple things, but two things I want to touch on. One of it being, for us, what we haven't been taught from young, especially with our parents not really holding on to the good parts of history. And I think now, see, the whole thing with what has happened in our history, when we talk about it, be real, like you said earlier, slavery and what happened is still gonna come up. You know what I'm saying? Certain things we got to be careful about repeating. As far as the way we nowadays, if you from a different culture, some of our people do some sellout shit. Like, they willing to give their shirts off their back and give away everything, but in the name of greed. I've seen people own properties worth a few million and sell it off instead of being able to deal with it in a smart business sense. Like, how you got certain businesses that can leverage. You was about to say something?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm gonna write it down. Just keep going.
Okay.
I don't want to cut you off.
Okay. So it's like in the name of greed, I've seen them instead of leveraging like certain other people do or certain families might do. Like we're gonna leverage this to get a business loan or something like that and expand. But they sold it off, lost everything to drugs and party life and just stupid shit, buying stuff, doing stupid shit. So I think that's another thing we kind of I think we also I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but to a certain extent, I think we need to hold some of our elders accountable, man. Like when you look at people that's in their 40s plus, like I'll say like 40 to early 60s, they've done a lot of shit that shot us in the foot. You got certain people that come around and expect their children is supposed to just take care of them even when they're still mobile. It's like you didn't set nothing up for your children. They had to go out there and fucking get it on their own. So I think what you said about the older generation, I think we need to do some accountability on this so we can look at the situation and say, I'm not going to do that to what my parents did. Maybe we can start making some kind of changes versus doing the same stupid shit that we used to do. But go ahead. What you was about to say?
Well, just to speak on that and work my way backwards, me and Jay have been talking about this forever, and we've been saying that we hold the previous generations responsible for the past and the current present state that we're in right now, and then we hold our generation accountable for what's happening into the future. And the reason being is because every single thing that's happened, right? Like our parents, we can always offer the excuse that, hey, they didn't know about money. They didn't know about this. They didn't know about that. Well, if I look at me in the same situation, I say, okay, well, my mom didn't know about money and all that good stuff, but I went out and did due diligence and learned. I said, okay, well, people are making money. This is what they're doing. I read books. I Googled. I did these different things. Now, I understand I got better technology now, but at that time, they had libraries, and libraries were packed in the old days. Everybody was always in libraries. But I think that people's priorities were different. And it was because it was an easier life to just stay inside the community, work at a factory, do those things, come home, you know what I'm saying, deal with those struggles, get the free government handouts. I mean, those things were easier than the work that it would take to create a better nation. But also, I think that what a lot of people don't understand is that it depends. This conversation will strike people differently depending on what class they're in, because ultimately everything boils down to classism. If you were making, $30,000 and less, or whatever the case may be, then you're like, well, fuck, what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? This and that, da da da. I'm working my ass off. If you're making between $50,000 and $100,000, then you're a little bit more comfortable, but you like, I don't fully agree with him. I kind of see what he's saying, but I don't really agree with him. If you're making over $100,000, then you're like, shit, I put in a whole bunch of work. My parents wasn't there, or, you know what I'm saying, to guide me and tell me all these things for the most part. I had to make this on my own, you know what I'm saying, and do these different things. And it's all about classism and the things that you have to do to get there. But that leads me into the one thing that I wanted to say before that was, you talked about people becoming sellouts when they, you know what I'm saying, leave the community. I have one question and one statement. The question is, what is a sellout? And then the statement is, everybody has a price. And I can explain that everybody has a price part if you'd like, because I know everyone does.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so in a literal sense, everybody has a price, meaning that everybody's willing to do something for a certain amount of money. It is what it is. So there's a lot of people out there who are straight men who they pump their chest and they'll say they're never gay, and whatever the case may be. And if I told you, and I'm gonna say pause in advance, if I told you, hey, I give you $1 billion with a B to suck a dick and record it, or whatever the case may be, that same person would turn around and say, yes, I'm gonna take that $1 billion. Okay, but what about your family? What would they say? Oh, I'm gonna buy a new family. Well, what would your friends say? I'm gonna buy new friends. Like literally, you got enough money to buy many countries around the world. Like there's tons of people who would go for it, no problem. So I think that everybody has a price, for which it's direct and financial for the things that they're willing to do. Will you kill somebody for $10? No. Would you kill somebody? Oh, sorry. Would you delete somebody for $1,000? Depending on my situation, okay, maybe I'm looking at it. Oh, would you do it for $1 million? Shoot, let's go. You know what I'm saying? People are different like that, And so that's why I say everybody has a price, and it just depends on what their price is for these different things. Um, but the other part of it is you technically are enslaved when you go to work every single day, however the case may be, and the money that you're making every year to do that same menial task, come there at the time that they dictate and tell you that you need to do these things. You're literally, that's your price. That's your price for me to control you and tell you to do what I want you to do. So that's what I got on that. But if you want, you can answer that question as far as what is a sellout, because I hear it a lot, but the definition always seems to be very malleable.
I think like what you just said. If somebody's willing to do something for a couple of dollars that's immoral, to me that's selling out. I think that and the biggest issue is, like you said, everybody has a price, so they're gonna do certain things. But I noticed like the people that actually are sellouts don't get called out for being sellouts as well. It's cool for doing business, and this is what people gotta realize. I'm not saying that it's gonna be it's simple to be careful about certain things, and then you still gonna make a whole bunch of money. That's what a lot of people gotta realize that don't be around business people. They actually think there's not gonna be some, what do you call it? Compromising, right? Some people would call compromising selling out. And it's like, okay, so you don't know the definition of selling out. If you think somebody because like you said, where you could be slaving for your job. Like when I see people trying to have some nice shit and they got to work all these shifts just to have some nice shit, and then they're barely able to even enjoy those nice things. But I think the selling out part is, which Jay-Z has been called on a few times. I remember Marlon Wayne spoke on it, and my boy from Brooklyn was telling me about this. So he did something where he was trying to help bring the Nets to Brooklyn, and with him being in that situation, he didn't know he was selling out. I don't think Jay just did this on purpose, because it was certain place in the area in Brooklyn that they had to knock down in order for them to actually build that stadium, the Brooklyn Nets stadium there, right? And people was mad at him about it. But I honestly don't think Jay did that on purpose, because as we see, he's no longer part of the Brooklyn Nets anymore. It made him look bad. But if he would have did it and stayed there, then people like, yeah, motherfucker, you sold us out. So that's the type of selling out thing. You cause some people to lose their homes in certain situations. And then it was somebody I was just thinking about. Excuse me.
But I got a rebuttal on that real quick though.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I actually just happened to look it up, Google it, what selling out was, and they said that it's basically a common expression for the compromising of a person's integrity, morality, authenticity, or principles in exchange for personal gain, such as money. So here's my thing, right? First off, that's every rapper. Every rapper has sold out, because a lot of them haven't been on the streets slinging dope and all that good stuff, but they're willing to compromise their own morals, because they wouldn't do it themselves, their own authenticity, for the money that they make from rapping about these different things.
Especially if, not to cut you off, but especially if you haven't been in the streets for like 10 plus years, why are you still rapping about street shit? Like,
yeah, but my whole thing is it's based off of your morals, your integrity, your morality. So if I'm a person who has absolutely no morals and no integrity, then technically I'm not selling out. I'm making a business transaction. Technically, I'm not selling out. I'm doing what I got to do to feed my family and get better and do better and all that good stuff. And actually, I could have morals. They just might not align with what you want. So that's why the term selling out has always been so strange to me, because you're judging people based off of your own morals, whereas the definition that at least what I just read, means that it's going against their morals. But if they don't have morals against what you're talking about, like for instance, they say sex work is real work. Me, morally, I don't see it as such. But there's a lot of women out there who are on OnlyFans, who do who offer massages or time in exchange for money. There's a lot of women who do a lot of these things. And morally, I think that that's incorrect. So if I held them against my morals, then I would say that they're sellouts. But them, they see it's perfectly fine because they say sex work is real work, so they're not sellouts. That's where it's a stupid term. That's all I gotta say.
No, I'm glad you broke it down that way because that's part of what I said. Is just going something that's immoral, right? Especially for like, let me put it like this.
Immoral? No, wait, immoral to who?
No, that's what I was about to add. If you say you stand for something and you do opposite and make yourself a hypocrite, those are people I call sellouts. So if you saying like look at Kanye West, see all the stuff he's saying he stand for, and then you go against it for your benefit. So it's like I'm gonna call that out for what you say you stand for. But I agree with you because I see a lot of people say that shit, and it's like look at Alfonso Ribeiro. We talked about this the other night. Alfonso Ribeiro has never, I have at least never, maybe you can correct me if you've seen it, but I've never seen him try to act like he's blackity black. I've never seen Alfonso Ribeiro do that. So when they seen he was married to a white woman, I'm like, okay, so y'all just finding out because he's been married to that woman for years. He didn't just get married to her. You see, his oldest child is like a teenager. So what are y'all talking about? So when I seen, sadly enough, a lot of black females calling him a sellout and all that, I'm like, okay, first of all, he never was a blackity black person. He's not Chuck D from Public Enemy. And then second of all, when he got with his woman, he's never talked shit about black women or black people in general. So just to give a for me a perfect example, maybe you can see what I'm saying with that. It's like, how do you call him a sellout? First of all, he never was Chuck D or Malcolm X. And then for two, he's been with this same white woman for years. And three, he's never shitted on the black community ever. He's actually a really nice guy. From what I hear, you never heard no controversy or nothing about him like that. But I mean, does that speak to kind of to your point? Like when I bring him up as an example?
Yeah, I mean, here's my problem with that, right? And when you hear Alfonso becoming a sellout or whatever the case may be, a lot of that talk comes from either black women or men who were raised by black women. And when I say raised by black women, I mean single parent homes.
Yep.
The reason I say that is because he was never somebody who everybody wanted. A lot of these people, like, yes, I understand that there are some superstars who they get big and so on and so forth. They're looking for a certain thing in a wife. They want somebody who's hey, you can still work and all this other stuff, but at the end of the day, they need to treat me like a man when I'm at home. And that's what they're looking for. But there's a lot of black women out there. And I'm not saying majority, because I've met so many black women who are down to earth and so on and so forth. It just depends on the areas that you go into or the neighborhoods that you go into. But it's harder sometimes to find the person who's going to give you play or whatever, especially if you're not the best looker or you're not an athlete or whatever the case may be. I mean, come on, if you're becoming an actor, then obviously people are going to think that you're effeminate because you're in chorus, you're in music classes, you're in acting classes, you're doing all these different things, where ballet, you're doing all these different things that typically wouldn't be considered masculine. So a lot of these women who were claiming that, oh, he's a sellout and this and that, they would have never checked on him until he became popular, until he was on a TV show, until he started making money. So that whole thing just, that kind of irked me with that.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna front. Back some years back, I probably would have said the same thing about the brother, but like I'm saying, because I get, like when you say open, not me being closed-minded, excuse me, part of me is like, okay, I get what you're saying, because I used to be like that back in the day. So that's why certain things that you may hear me say has remnants of that. But I'm like, for some years now, I've been trying to, really get a grasp, a good understanding of where my mindset is at now, and try my best not to be a hypocrite, man, because like when certain guys are dating white women, and like I said, I started really analyzing and thinking about it, like I said with Alberto Rafonso, I'm like, hold on, well, the brother is not you know what I'm saying, Malcolm X. He doesn't have scandal out there. Hopefully he doesn't, God forbid. But also, he never disses the black community. So I was like, just thinking about his situation, certain other people's situation. I'm like, you know what? That would be wrong of me to say that about that man. That'd be wrong. I don't know him personally, but from what I see, he carries himself in a respectful and respectable manner. So, you know, like I said, and you know, I've always been honest about that. Like, you know, I've had to make some adjustments in my life as I've gotten older and all those things. So, and I know people personally, family members, friends, and all that, you know, are married outside of their race, if you will. But certain ones, they're not on that bullshit. But I know some other ones that be on that, yeah, you know, you might need to get you a white girl. I'm like, get the fuck out of my face. Especially if you got a white girl who act black. That don't make no damn sense whatsoever. But for the people that got love for their community and ain't on that bullshit, they get respect. You know what I'm saying? But I think it just took some time for me to get there. So I'm able to be honest about that. You know what I'm saying? Versus somebody who lies about it.
So I'm gonna put it out there. My and I know Jay says it a lot, you know what I'm saying, about our preferences are always black women. But I think that, you know what I'm saying, through time, when you've talked to many different races and so on and so forth, there's definitely a difference in how you're accepted in the black community amongst our women versus how as a black man you're accepted in other communities amongst their women. And I understand that some communities or some women see us as a novelty, and that's not the ones that I'm talking about right now. But I'm talking about people that are actually, you know, those ones that people are trying to move forward and have a relationship with, and so on and so forth. There's a definite difference. Like a lot of these men are going to these women, especially country women, like, you know, oh, okay, well, shoot, I'm gonna get a. It's the same thing for the passport bros. Passport bros are talking about, hey, I already got to break bread for my women. I already got to take care of my women. I already got to put my life on the line for these women. I already got to do all these different things. Why not at least get something in return? And so if I have to go to another country to date a woman in Thailand or Vietnam or you know, wherever, just to basically, and they're like, oh, she's just trying to, you know, use you for your money. Well, I know a lot of black men that are being used for their money right now, and they ain't getting shit out of it. They still having to cook and clean and do all this other stuff that the woman would normally be doing, and they chicks are going out and shopping every day. You know what I'm saying? Not going to a job, but going out and shopping every day. So I just think that at the end of the day, we're too far into the future from where slavery was. We're too far into the future to kind of be still stuck on some things. I think that a lot of it comes out of hurt because black women are saying this person left the community and they didn't choose me. That's really where a lot of this hurt comes from. And then for black men, there are three really. There's the black men who don't care. There's the black men who hate it simply because they weren't able to do it, such as, you know, the success part, not the dating outside of race, but the success part, that they weren't able to do it. And then there's the black men who are able to do it and seek inspiration and so on and so forth. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to end up with white women. I mean, that just means that they're going to go for success. At the end of the day, all these people and everybody that we're talking about is successful people. We're not talking about the common people here right now, simply because the common people don't date outside of their race in high numbers. It's people who are successful and everything who either A, didn't get played before, or B, they're getting something out of other races that they can't find within their own race. And if that something is femininity, or if that something is a woman who is willing to treat him like a man and not be his partner, then I mean, I can't really knock him for that, because ultimately men want something. And as long as our women become more and more and more masculine, I think that you're going to see a lot more men over the years continue to date outside of the community. And it sucks. But I don't even think that that's a huge problem. I think the biggest problem that we need to tackle first is all the other problems that are facing us financially. Once we tackle those things, then we can go to the petty stuff as far as relationships and who's dating who and all that good stuff. We sound like we're in high school or something. Like, let's talk about real problems as far as people who are, dying, people who are homeless, people who are underemployed. Let's talk about all those things. Let's talk about people who aren't given the opportunity simply because of the color of their skin. Now, I'm not saying that it happens everywhere, but let's talk about those things. Let's fix those things in the black community. Let's, as a community, come together, you know what I'm saying, and vote for the candidates who also have the same views as far as where we want to take the black community. Let's do those things. Now, I'm gonna just go ahead and put that plug out there. I know people gonna hate me for it. I'm not talking about Stacey Abrams because everything she talk about is against the black community. But yeah, let's
Yeah, I want to actually speak to that because I think that's another thing that helped my growth was we got serious issues going on out here, right? And it's like, okay, so we worrying about the minute shit, and what's tearing us down really is our own mentality. A lot of times, where we think, okay, well, if black men stop dating white women, maybe they will fix something. If black men actually took care of their kids, maybe we'll fix something. But it's like, hold on. You got plenty of black men. We can talk about the CDC stats, but we can also just talk about it anecdotally that a lot of us see this. Or we know a lot of people that's going through it. What about the black men that are trying for their kids? Ain't none of y'all hardly speaking to those women saying, hey, you need to stop that shit, what you doing. Ain't nobody talking about when they're talking about dating outside the race, instead of saying, baby girl, you need to fix yourself and maybe you can find you a man. Like, those are the issues. Like, if we're gonna, like, when we talk about those issues, we actually got to go into it. Like, literally, like, hold on. So if you want this to work out, that's just like now when we speak about certain things, it's like we get shunned for it. Then they saying, oh, this is a problem. They talking about Andrew Tate in school and women disrespected, even some sucker ass dudes disrespected Kevin badly when he died, God rest his soul. And it's like, dog, he was talking about the issues that we need to fix. And all y'all was worried about was him telling a chick that, yo, you're 35, you're a baby mama, and you want dude that make a lot of money because you make a lot of money, but your mentality is not right. And then look at your situation. You got a lot of baggage. You're not just going to easily and simply find that type of dude. And then when he did try to give her advice for like 23 minutes, she was being rude. No, they couldn't get over the fact that he checked her, not the fact that she was being rude, not the fact that she wasn't listening, not the fact that she called in on the show trying to be personal. Even though she said she made 6 figures, he kept trying to spare her. Like, listen, you making good money, just book a personal session because this ain't even what the show is about. She did it 3-4 times. He said, fuck it. Let's have a learning lesson out of this situation. You know what I'm saying? So when we talk about those issues, and like I was saying, for me, and hopefully God bless a lot of other brothers and sisters to get that. When you look at the bigger issues that we need to tackle, all the rest of that shit, you be like, man, fuck that. We ain't got time for that because what they eat don't make me shit. Go ahead. You was about to say something.
No, I was saying, yeah, I agree. Like, from as far as her going on the show and he asking her multiple times. So yeah, I'm there with you.
Yeah, she didn't give a damn. She didn't care, and that's all a lot of females seem to even care about it. And that speaks to the bigger issue. It's like, okay, with all the baggage that a lot of us have, men and women. I remember me, Jay, Jive, and Alexis, we did a show talking about certain things going on in the community. And I remember Kevin said, hey, war is over, let's sit down and talk at the table. And we had a conversation just like, hey, us as men, what we need to do better. Us as women, what we need to do better without blaming somebody else. Can you look at yourself fully and thoroughly and be like, this is what I need to work on? Or in my opinion, this is what we all as a collective, as men, have to work on so we can see better, because we are doing better on certain things. And I think the biggest issue was hurting us is because we got those smaller numbers that, now I'm not gonna say they're insignificant, but it's smaller, and then we focus more on that. Like, we don't focus on the numbers that show it's more black men in college than prison now. We don't focus on the numbers of how many black men are great involved fathers. We don't focus on the number of how many black men own their own successful businesses or are gainfully employed and making good salaries. We don't focus on those. So my stance now is like, okay, let's focus on the positives and not so much the negatives, unless we're trying to actually make a change. That's even the same thing we talking about in courts, people, family courts. Men need to actually start fucking fighting against that. Let's not just keep talking about what women doing to the brothers that are trying to do something. I had a conversation with a brother I knew about this conversation, and respect to him. He's like my big bro. But even he kind of still was like, but men got to get themselves together. I was like, no, that's what you're right. But I'm saying once we work on these programs, we're not going to even go into court with them until they're actually doing it as proof, because you got to show those receipts. I done been in those courts before. You got to show receipts. They don't want to hear nothing you got to say. You got to actually show freaking receipts. So what's your opinion when it comes to the youth and that where they being raised and how they carrying on like the bullshit traditions of the black community, and like how it's hurting? I mean, we got some young brothers doing some great things, but how do you think it's hurting? Because I'm seeing a lot of young black dudes killing each other still, taking each other's lives at a high rate still.
First off, I think that's a consequence of two things. The first one being proximity. Black people take out black people, white people take out white people, and so on and so forth. It's a crime of proximity because it typically happens within those neighborhoods. The second part, and this is the road that we're going to have to go down, is that I blame the women. And the reason I blame the women is, and I understand that, they say, oh, well, the man was in the household and all this other stuff, but 8 times out of 10, women are leaving. So, or not even just leaving, but not allowing their kids to interact with their parents at any frequent rate. So my whole thing is this, right? A lot of these women who are raising boys to be more emotional. And when you are emotional, now, especially with the male race being have a higher propensity to violence anyway. And when I say higher propensity to violence, I mean violence that actually will turn lethal. Women definitely cause more domestic violence. They actually abuse men and abuse people and other women and everybody else at rates far higher than any man. But when it comes to somebody actually doing the damage, it's men. So now you have boys or men who are stronger and so on and so forth. And now a lot of them are in gangs and stuff like that. And they're also very emotional. Now you've done something and it affected me emotionally. And now I'm going to give you an emotional response, which means that when you give somebody an emotional response, it's no longer, it no longer has that equal yet opposite kind of effect. If somebody step on your shoes, equal and opposite would be to step on their shoes. You know what I'm saying? Most people should just let that shit go. And you know what? Actually, when you say eye for an eye, there's a great saying that when everybody practices eye for an eye, it leaves the world blind.
Mm-hmm.
So my whole thing is this, right? There are some situations where, yes, you should be retaliating, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, whatever. But there's levels of escalation. We say the same thing in the military and everything else. If somebody steps on my shoes, that doesn't mean I need to go and get a gun and shoot them. That's not what needs to happen. But the problem is that when your emotions are flaring, just like women, when the guy, cheats on them or whatever the case may be. Now all of a sudden, it's not just, oh, he cheated on me, I need to just get rid of that dude. Now he cheated on me, I need to get rid of that dude. I need to ruin his life, ruin his career, and break as much shit of his shit that I can. And there's never any accountability like, oh shit, well, what did I do? Or, what I'm saying, or anything like that. And I'm not saying that we need to blame the victims in any kind of situations. Somebody stepped on your shoes. I'm not saying that, oh, you put yourself in a place or whatever, and you slid your foot under his foot. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that that a lot of these things that are happening, what did you do to put yourself in that situation? They talk about SA, and when they talk about SA, I never want to blame the victim But we do also have to shed the light saying that, hey, it might not be the wisest thing. I think, what's his name? The white guy, he's Jewish. Dang, he talks really fast. He's always Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle. Ben. I said Dave. I don't know why I said Dave. Anyways, Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro, one of the things he said was, listen, he said he never wants to blame the victim, right? He said, but however, there's a part where common sense comes in. He said, I don't go into a predominantly high crime community holding a bunch of $100 bills and throwing them up in the air or flaunting them around or whatnot as I'm walking through that community at 8 o'clock at night. That's not something I'm going to do and then get mad when someone robs me. Yes, they should not have robbed me. Yes, it was wrong that they robbed me. Yes, they should be penalized and persecuted because of the fact that they robbed me. But I do have to understand that I had a role to play in it because I was flaunting money and shaking it around at 8 o'clock in a community that was known for those actions and those things. So I use the same logic when it comes to a lot of these women sometimes when, they go to the clubs and so on and so forth. They wear the skimpiest of the skimpiest stuff and they go by themselves and they flirt to get drinks and they do all these things. They lead men on and so on and so forth, especially when men are inebriated. And then they wonder why when they put themselves in certain situations, things happen. I'm not saying that it's their fault, but I am saying that if they didn't put themselves in that situation, then things would have gone differently.
I mean, I think in a lot of situations that we see, I think that's kind of where we're at. Because even we see a lot of our folks doing better. They doing a lot of those putting themselves in bad situations. Like when I see certain dudes getting arrested and all that, it's like, man, I don't understand why y'all trying to go fight for somebody talking about they need to be free. And it's like, bro, they did something wrong. You better make sure before you go put your name out there on stuff that you actually 100% sure that they're innocent because you have the facts that you can go ahead, lay out on the table and look them up and down, left and right. And I think that's kind of the situation our community is in now. Like that's another reason why I'm tailored differently now when it comes to being black, you know what I mean, or pro-black or whatever. Because if you look at our communities back in yesteryear, it's certain shit that they was not cool with. So when I say me about being pro-black, I'm talking about past generations pro-black. I ain't like this new shit. That's nigger shit. That's nigger shit. That's not the type of stuff that we was on. There's going out there throwing your life away. There's going out there messing up your family, messing up your family's name. Like that's what my thing is. You know what I'm saying? It's like, nah, bro, if you did this, you got to know how to sit down. At least the criminals back then knew they had to go sit down if they get caught. You don't now everybody, oh, it's cool to snitch. It's cool to this and this. No, it's cool to stay your ass out of trouble, get your shit right and live legally. And so you can take care of your family. That's what's cool. To me, that's gangster. You take care of your family. You know what I'm saying? If you able to take care of your block community in that area, y'all work together and all that great stuff. That's great. That's gangster. But now we're in this mindset where it's like, okay, well, being black is this Negro shit over here. And it's like, no, that's not being black. That's the ignorant shit that they say we do. Now, if you look back in the past, when it was really on and popping, we had upstanding black people that walked upright. So if you're going to sit here and tell me now we're in a situation in an age where you can start a YouTube page and possibly become a millionaire or even a thousandaire, you're going to sit there and tell me you still in a situation, well, I had to do this because I ain't had nothing. You lying. You bogus too, bro. Like, it's so much stuff you can do on your phone. You can do TikTok. You can do all this stuff, get famous, make money. Instagram got it now where you can make money over there. So you can make money off the stuff you doing and having fun. This is not the ages where you got to work in the factory and slave, sweat and burning up. And this ain't the same year. We're able to make more money. Even our average of what we make now versus the black people back then is double. But you can make more than that. You have the freedom to make more than that. And to me, that's black. And I think Of course, I get misconstrued sometimes, but just to further expound on what I was saying is that's black to me. Those times of caring about each other and your folks. The sad thing is now it's just like, I don't know if you went through this growing up, but I went through this growing up. You know, moms tell you you can't go off the street. Then it turned to, you know what I'm saying, you stay right here on the sidewalk. Then it turned to stay in the yard. It's like that's where our mindset is at now. So it's like you can't help every black person. You can't deal with every black person. You got to have a smaller circle. And that's where we're at now. And I had to start seeing that because you will have people that don't give a damn about you when you ain't got nothing, willing to throw you away. But then as soon as you have something, instead of respecting you and keeping the distance, just, hey, I see you doing a thing, keep it up. It's what you got for me. You know what I'm saying? So I think hopefully after having this conversation, you kind of get a little bit more better understanding what I mean. And I think that's what we have to do more as a people, especially the people that you kind of mingle with. Y'all actually having real dialogue, real conversations.
Yeah, I definitely get
What
it.
damn?
What?
Boy, you got some feedback going on. What, you got a microphone next to
man.
a speaker?
You still hearing it?
A little bit, but it's better.
All right, hold on. All right, how about now?
I still hear, but you good. You good. I can hear you fine.
All right. I don't know what the hell just happened, but yeah, I definitely fully agree. With actually, no, I wouldn't even say I fully agree. I mostly agree with what you're saying.
Mhm.
But one of the last, well, again, working my way backwards. One of the last things you talked about, you know what I'm saying, is about people standing and stuff like that. You know, Jay-Z said it, and I know that we talked about it just a moment ago. You know what I'm saying? He said when y'all both broke, there's no strain on a relationship because y'all both broke. If you got money and he ain't got no paper, then everything's still good with the person that you're dealing with and all that good stuff. But when you ain't got no money, I'm sorry, but when y'all both get some paper, then you see how people really act, and that's real talk. Like, it definitely goes that way, and it kind of sucks that it does have to go that it does go that way. I don't know, man. Like, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be fixed in the black community, and there's no way to do sweeping change. I always said that I wanted to affect 5 black people, and if I could affect 5 black people to make their lives better, then I hope that they go out and affect 5 other black people. I don't see the changes. I don't think that I'm going to see the changes that I hope to put in place during my generation or even during my lifetime. But I'm hoping that I can make enough of an impact, and the people that I make an impact on can make enough of an impact where 100 years from now, black people won't be considered the path of least resistance. That's really my hopes, because all the other stuff, it sucks where we're at, man. All the sellout stuff and getting mad about people who are dating out and all that good stuff. We get so caught up on the small things. It's just like people getting caught up on Jordans and everything else. We really do need to grow up, man. And as far as crime within our communities, I know that people don't like it, but if people weren't doing wrong morally, then there would be no reason to snitch. So I know it was funny and all what Charleston White was saying, but yeah, I'm in the same boat, somewhat, as far as snitching. Like if you take my shit, and I know you took my shit.
He said, "I'm not snitching. I'm telling."
Yeah. But nah. So what people don't realize, and he says it every single time that he has those conversations. I know it's meant to be a little bit funny. He's very serious when, like, in his face when he says it. But no, seriously, if somebody's stealing from you, you ain't finna sit up and be like, oh no, I don't know who did it. I ain't see nothing. No, get your stuff back. And all that good stuff. But me, right now, one of the things that I've come to understand is that the longer you live on this earth, and the longer that you become a man, this is just me talking as myself, you have more to lose, and it is not worth It is not worth me losing everything that I've built so far, or if not to hide something, or what if not in private possibly come back on me and all this other stuff. I say, hey, listen, if something happens where I feel like I might be held liable, I'm telling.
Mm.
And if there's something that happens in my house that I can take care of, I'm taking care of it. So if you step on my property, I might I might have to stand my ground. But hey, I tell people all the time, you punch me in my face in my house, it's gonna be a different outcome than to punch me in my face when we out and about. When we out and about, you're going to jail. If you're in my house, you ain't going to jail. If you know what I mean.
No, yeah, but see, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's my thing too, because with the Charleston White situation, I be trying to follow what he said till I'm a Trayvon Martin, somebody. I'm like, see, bro, that's where you losing me at. Because because in that situation, we already know the boy was walking with damn Skittles and an Arizona tea. Like, he didn't have no gun and nothing like that. So that
was bad because he stalked Trayvon. So I don't care what his past was or anything like that. He stalked him at the end of the day. So that situation is different. Now, if somebody breaks into your house or something like that, then that's completely different.
Yeah, it's justifiable then.
Oh yeah, and I'm a fan of justifiable.
Yeah, because I mean, so like I said, I try to follow him on certain things because my mindset is changed on that too. I'm all for self-defense, but in certain situations,
hold on. Because if I can recall correctly, literally like 6 months ago, you had a problem with guns.
What problem did I have with guns?
Well, Jay still has the problem because he doesn't believe in AR-15s and all this other stuff. Like he doesn't believe in none of that. So Jay still, the only thing he believes in is pistols and shotguns, preferably pistols.
Wow. Okay.
But I don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole because
no. But I'm saying I've always been for self-defense. I'm saying in any fashion you're protecting your life or your loved ones or something is what I mean, right? So when it comes down to like the police and I hear people like what you just said, the police, people be so fucking cap, man. I see people that talk all this thug shit, call the police all the time. The police always at their house and they around there having conversations with like they grew up. So their whole no snitching, no telling is straight bullshit. The only time it matters is when it's for somebody that somebody likes. You know what I'm saying? Like, motherfuckers be lying like a motherfucker. Especially this day and age, everybody snitching. Everybody is fucking snitching. When they try to talk that shit, talking about with the Nipsey Hussle situation, he called the little sucker nigga that killed him a snitch. What? Hold on. Y'all say he did what he was supposed to do. I mean, I can't believe some cats saying it, but they say he doing what he's supposed to do. But I'm like, it's a lot of cats that's supposed to be deleted right now because they call it everybody snitch. Oh yeah, such this don't such. I'm like, then why ain't nobody do? And some of them be gang members in these situations. So I'm like, if y'all really living like that, then why in the hell y'all ain't lay them down? Exactly, y'all front. Stop lying. Stop with that bullshit. And I'm so tired of people lying like that. Like they full on gangster and you not, bro. You work at McDonald's and Burger King that night, overnight at the drive-thru. Stop it.
Or like Rick Ross, gangster. Like Rick Ross. His damn name ain't Rick Ross, and then they tried to sue him to get the name back.
Oh, that was foul right there too. Yeah, I couldn't believe that. Like I was like, how the man? That's his real name, bro.
But to this day, I still don't listen to none of his music. Because
his music suck now, anyways.
Well, I'm originally from Miami, but to this day, I still don't listen to none of his music.
Yeah, that's like shit like that. And then you was a correctional officer, then you lied and say you wasn't. Then I seen how he tried to hype it up on because he's good at hyping some shit. Like he need to be a narrator. When he was on Big Boy in the Neighborhood, he was like, I didn't say it because the people I was dealing with. I'm like, man, shut your lying ass up. The only people you were dealing with child support. You were trying to keep them up off your ass. Stop lying, motherfucker.
Listen, they used to call that mug Billy until he hit high school when they called him Will. They never used to call him no Rick Ross.
Thank you.
He was Billy. He was Billy until he got to high school and he became Will.
Straight flag.
Stop playing.
But see, that's what I'm saying. That's the era we in right now, and that's always my point. It's like, yo, I'm not with the Negro shit. Like no, bro, no. Like I got my times where I'm cool with some ratchet shit when it comes to music or something like that. But when it comes out here living like that, nah, bro. I can listen to some music and just be entertained, especially like some old school shit like 8 Ball, MJG, or somebody like that. But they always had messages in their music. Then they still had their ratchet shit and stuff like that. But outside of that, I ain't breaking no fucking laws. I'm not doing none of that, bro. I know too many people recently that just got locked up. Fuck that. Let dumb be over there, somebody telling them to bend over and cough. Hell no. I'm not with somebody telling you when you can get up and go do this, X, Y. Man, fuck no. I'm not with that. You can't go to the refrigerator and grab a snack when you want to. You can't kick it with a little honey when you want to. You can't walk out your front door when you want to. So for that to be promoted to our people is the bullshit. And like I said, I'm on the old school black shit, but that shit, fuck that shit. Y'all can have that, and we're gonna see how you turn out, because people don't realize when you mess up now, this is how we know the system is playing chess, not checkers. You could be a young dumb, do some stupid shit, and then when you get older and you trying to correct yourself, they're gonna make you pay for it. You gonna have to work for that shit. You got an F on your sheet, your felony. It's gonna be hard to find a job in certain places. It's gonna be hard to do certain shit. But some dude, I done heard dumbass niggas be like, man, shit, I'm gonna be a rapper. And they're like, hey, you kind of left yourself with no choice with them teardrop tattoos under your eyeballs, bro. You gotta put yourself as a rapper in your life.
Listen,
But
I know people who almost 50 years old right now still talking about they about to be a rapper.
Ooh, shit.
Yeah.
Trying to look for a record deal?
Yeah, I'm still putting it out there. I know people who are doing it. I was like, nigga, once you hit 40, your ass needed to get a job, nigga. You already behind the curve. You didn't make it. Just let it go. But
for real, I mean, because it's way. That's another point I was talking about real quick. If you want to be a rapper, you can. You can just put your own shit out there. Put your own shit on CD Baby. But the fact that people see, and that's the mindset I have a problem with too, because I know people that, and I used to preach it till I was blue in the face. And I was like, bro, you can be indie. Why are you trying to waste your time and become some big superstar? Them be the main ones who ain't got no real money.
Yeah.
Going back to what you said about Ross. Ross said he didn't have no real money till he was like 36, 37 years old. So that means when he got a little change, he went and brought that 745 Beamer. And he used to rap about that shit throughout his whole album. That's all he rapped about. And I was like, yeah, that he ain't really got no money like that. I'm saying he got more than me, but he ain't had no money like that. If you kept rapping about it like you just got it. Like if you got money like that, you would have been had that for your record deal. And I think that was like his second or third record deal by the time he got that. So it's just all that fake facade shit. People wanted to personify it later on. And it's like you got to work harder than the bullshit that you're doing if you really want something to happen for you in your life. You know what I'm saying? But this was a good conversation, man. Like I said, sometimes I get misconstrued. I don't be upset about it. You know what I'm saying? I'm used to it. I'm pretty used to it now, so I don't really take it personal. But when it comes to my people, I do got love for my people. But my people that are doing good, I'm sorry, no offense. I pray for those other ones. They ain't got their mind right, but I can't focus on you, bro. I let God handle that. I ain't got nothing to do with that. You ain't listening. You hard-headed. You stubborn. You messing up people around you with that bullshit. So I can't fuck with you. But for my people that are working hard, trying to accomplish something, that want to network with like-minded brothers and sisters, that's who I rock with. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't see too much of that ignorant shit tear families apart. Me and my family then went through bullshit and friends, and fuck that. That ratchet shit ain't doing nothing but stifling us. And then now you look at what's being seen out there now. How the fuck Cardi B is speaking for us? Why the fuck is Megan Thee Stallion speaking for us? Why do we have rappers speaking for us? When they go to talk to people, they ain't gonna talk to Dr. Claude Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? They're not gonna talk to those black people that keep it real and actually been out here doing something for decades. I think Dr. Claude Anderson is like 82 or something now. They ain't finna speak to him. You ain't gonna never see them speak to him. So I'm glad when the Breakfast Club share their platform with a brother like that, because he be speaking that real shit. and the brother's very intelligent. He know about numbers and everything, actually doing work in the community and certain things they break down, but they ain't gonna talk to him. And that's what we gotta be careful about. And I'm sure some of y'all seen that no voting, no vucking video. That was a spit in the face. That was a true spit in the face. So I think that's another thing we have to make sure we always speak on. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm always doing in my content, just calling that bullshit out, man. Cause we got to.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the black community has a long way to go as far as coming together. I think the first thing that we need is a ethos, or something that we need to drive towards, as far as standards for what it means to be black or what the black community needs. If we want to talk about two-parent households, we want to talk about all these different things, then we need to go ahead and start enforcing those things and making that happen. As long as we continue to just live as individuals, we're always going to be in the same boat. We're always going to be talking about it and never making any progress.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we necessarily need a centralized leader, but I do think we need to come together as a people to come together and say, hey, this is what I need to do for my community. This is what I would like to see my community become. And we need to take all those things and distill them down into the core things that our community needs. And then now we start pushing the laws to accept those things. Because right now, yeah, I can create a law that says this or says that, or whatever case may be, but it's never going to get any backing, especially if it specifically says, oh, black people need to have this, this, and this, and this, and this. Nobody's signing anything like that into law. It's just period. So that's going to go down a different rabbit hole of conversation. I don't want to go that far. But
no,
yeah.
I want to do more shows on that, showing resources, especially for young brothers that's needed. Like I'm gonna do a review on Dr. T Hassan because he actually got some resources that him and his people been working on. So I want to show more of that for us to, besides just talking about, you know, the female thing or there's certain things what we need to do better, but actually start showing more of that. You know what I'm saying? So that's more to come. But is there anything else you want to get off your chest before we wrap it up?
Yeah, so I had that one question, and this is my last question, is what is your ideal world? And this is coming from, you know what I'm saying, you talking about you're pro-black, you're this, you're that, and all the various statements that you've made. What is your ideal world that you're looking to create for black people?
Man, more resources that I can give on my part and help with. And always, like I said, actually networking with the people more. Because maybe we can build more, you know what I'm saying? When you have a tight circle and they're building, everybody's building on their own, and it trickles down to the family, to the kids, you know what I'm saying? And also just working against the mindset, the bullshit, you know what I'm saying? Because if we keep just allowing the youth to not have real guidance, this is what we're gonna keep seeing. So I think that's one of the biggest parts it plays and starts there. Like if somebody that's of age ain't with it, they ain't with it. I'm not gonna try to make you do a damn thing. Like I said before, I can't save everybody. Ideally, it would be great to see more of our folks working together and building together and having better communities and also knowing more about our history and our roots as our family or where our tribes come from and things of that nature. But the main thing is just building within the people around me. That's where you got to start. You got to start at home first. You know what I'm saying? I used to think, oh, I can just get out here. No, you got to start with the people around you first. So I'm just more realistic now. You know what I'm saying? I know what an idealistic mindset I used to have, but now it's about being realistic, man. Fuck what you feel, see what's real.
Well, I think your growth has been good, especially in the time that I've known you. A lot of your rhetoric has changed. Seems a lot more mature, and yeah. So,
I'm a cool motherfucker.
Sometimes.
Hey, Sometimes it's good for me. That's better than nothing.
You just say you seem like an op, like a motherfucker. But anyway,
I'm op to the opposition. Believe that. Well, we appreciate everybody who came through. Hopefully, y'all enjoyed the conversation. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have more conversations like this. Shout out to the ones that's missing tonight because we ain't talking about Cynthia G, old punk bitter ass. While y'all talk shit about Jay, but then y'all don't show up when he ain't showing them bullshit videos. Yeah, that part.
Facts.
So we about to go ahead, get up out of here, wrap up every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Y'all can catch your boy here doing my thing. All right. So we out about this bitch. Chill.
And we gotta.
They're working for 99. They can't be contractors or anything like that. They have to.
If this really happened in real life.
I don't know.